This is IBM Museum, and we need to talk about channel development. Um, as I have pictured here, um, just a phenomenal rise in subscribers in the last 2 days. And that was in a great part due to Curious Mark having a video, and I responded rather early when about the first two videos had dropped. They were going through and working with an IBM PS2 Model 77 based on the what's called the Bermuda planar. And we'll look over systems, the Model 76 and Model 77 of that Bermuda planar aspect, and also the other planar that could be found in those same systems too, called the Lacuna, and each have their own strengths and detraction. But I went through and I started seeing notes on the Facebook group from one person in particular saying, hey, maybe somebody needs to reach out to them and offer them some assistance. And by then they'd pinned it down to something on the planar. I mean, if it's problems with a chip that's soldered to the planar, first off, that's going to be notably a planar replacement. And IBM at the PS2 level, even ahead of a lot of the clone machines that were out at the time, did a lot of integration of stuff on the planar. For all the adapters, those were a lot of side functions. It wasn't kind of the PC days where you had the separate necessarily display adapter and drive controller and things like that. Although they did in different ways. I mean, there's risers and there is adapters for display or even improving the display. But it's going to come down to, in their case, as a planar replacement. So, hey, I've got a planar on the way, and I did do some back channel communication with Curious Mark, a few other people thrown in. Eric, he's got a great technician on site, a guy that went through and designed a sound blaster board, basically, or a sound card for the PS2, the microchannel bus. And so, he's got some great help on site, but we just wanted to offer the assistance to get a planar in his hand. And I involved Thomas, Major Tom, of the Ardent Tool site for all his knowledge and helping go through and diagnose and giving a little bit of feedback in that back channel chain of things to look at. But Curious Mark went through, and once I went through and obligated myself for a planar, I stayed up front to him. As long as you give a credit, that you say that I'm helping you, and we've got the Ardent Tool right there too, giving you guys support. Just give a shout out. And he pinned a comment, and I was up and around kind of late. I think it was about, ultimately what showed up to me, or when I saw it, it was about 1 a.m. in the morning. And so over the next day, I think I gained, I'm trying to remember what exactly it was, but as you can see in the image here, it's just about 5 people shy of 120 new subscribers I've gained to my channel. And a lot of time, even for the shout outs and things like that, I can understand people maybe do a click through, or they have a link. They go to the channel and maybe they watch a video, but didn't really, the subscribing side is something that in some cases people they're a little bit leery to do. They hold back. And so I'm very grateful for the new addition of subscribers. And I have to stay within and we'll use a span of 2 days, because this still has, there's still probably another good 6 hours for me to go through and wrap it up to talking about a 2-day period of coverage. But I fully expect that I'll gain 120 new subscribers, if not more, during that 2-day period. And that's going to have a point for the next step. And that's going to put me up just shy of 500 subscribers. Now, I view the subscriber count that any YouTuber likes to hit initially, at least in this current time frame, the way that YouTube has it set up, is 1,000 subscribers. Because at that point, you can go through and do YouTube announcements. You can go through and your subscribers see a comment. You can go through and do polls. You can otherwise interact. And that has a nature. You can do like announcing live streams on relatively short notice, and your subscribers see those. And of course, they're notified if they're subscribing to your channel. They're notified of those. But 1,000 subscriber is about the initial threshold that is kind of the nice range. And that also gets to the point where your videos start getting pulled up in search results and things like that as well. I have evidence that not all subscribers were necessarily from just that shout out. I mean, I'm hearing some feedback that I am starting to become in search results, or I'm getting recommended by the YouTube algorithm that's putting up videos up there that, as a way that people have found me. And certainly the views have gone up from there. And YouTube, I think a little bit of that algorithm as well. And it's a big mysterious thing that a lot of people, YouTube content creators, talk about. But a lot of it is, I think, that increase over a short time, or what's treated as being a viral video in that sense as well. If a channel has a sudden increase of subscribers, a sudden increase of viewership on a video, it's going to go through and start doing that. And it's been here at least a couple weeks since I've been starting to see comments on older videos that just really don't have all that much views and things like that. So I realize that my videos are slowly getting out there. And a lot of time I've been content, or I know I'm practical enough to know if you have a YouTube channel, you basically just you've got to wait time. Even if you're churning out videos every day, even if you're doing, for what you think is producing fabulous content that you'd like to be seen, that is being suppressed out there a little bit. You're competing with a lot of other stuff on YouTube. And it just takes time. It takes time to get up to having the subscribers. And I relate, and I'll bring up some videos here, how the viewership relates, the viewing of a video is often rated higher than subscribers, or, YouTube wants to be attracting people to viewers. They don't care how many subscribers you get. They care how many people it pulls to the YouTube site, or pulls to your video, keeps them there, that they can go through and, generate advertisement levels and things like that. Just people that are more pulled into YouTube. They don't care about their subscribers that you have. They care about how many of their videos are viewed out there, and they even monetize to that aspect. I mean, they have a criteria for how many views that you have to have on a video. So for me, I'm relating in the 2 days, I have gained about a third more. You know, I'm 133% of where I was 2 days ago, and in the number of subscribers. I mean, that's a jump to add a third again of my subscribers to that subscriber base. That's wonderful. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with that aspect in helping other channels out there as well. Because, you know, there's times that I feel that I'm just struggling. I'm trying to get up at least to that 1,000 subscriber time frame. I figured now's a good time with people, with my videos being out there in the awareness. And I still want to talk about it. I mean, this one video is getting a lot of views, and even to the point where a lot of people have to realize that even, you know, 1,000 plus more views than my other videos do. And even to the point where, you know, the likes that I'm having, and even some downvotes. And a YouTuber takes all that in stride, the downvotes and things like that. It's almost like the laugh emoticon, though, in Facebook. You have somebody that just gives you a laugh when you're not saying something humorous. When you're trying to be serious, they give you a laugh emoticon. Means that they disagree with what you're saying, or they're laughing at you. That you'd like a follow-up comment to know what they found wrong. I would love for those 3 downvotes to go through and make a comment on the video, and I can understand if it's something to production or something else that I know I have to address at some point. But you wish you had that a little bit of that feedback. And there has been comments on this video. I've tried to respond to every comment, and I've had that thing about I said I would set particular checkpoints early on. If I hit, you know, 286 viewers or 386 viewers, I had Thomas made the comment. It says, "Hey, it's about time to start playing that 386 special for having 386 subscribers," and being a play on the 386 CPU. And I said, we're past that. We're moving through the numbers. And that was even probably, I think, a day ago. And so, you know, the joke is now, well, I need to start preparing for that 486 special, or something to deal with maybe like a more human terms of that 500 subscriber, being halfway there to the 1,000 subscriber mark. But it's, you know, I'm going to contrast a little bit of this, because I look for the subscribers. That's important to me. That's important for the information that I'm getting out. I like to think that I'm pointing people in the right direction, providing the helpful details on a video. And a lot of time that is where I'm pointing at the Ardent Tool resource. Okay. And it encourages me in the last couple days, because even with Curious Mark, I mean, he goes through and he does other items, and that's just not, you know, what Thomas says. Hey, this is it amounts to what he regards as a white box. It's a computer. It's a small personal computer. Curious Mark normally looks at a whole nother angle of systems, a whole nother vintage, a whole nother, you know, and very resourceful in the knowledge that he has in that. And we're all like that. I would go through and I would stumble upon anything that he does, and that's why they had to call on the Calvary of Eric and other things, and looking at this and being, you know, we recognize the PS2s are just that they're unusual. They're a little bit different. There is a particular routine to them. And that's what we try and provide with that Ardent Tool resource, of a place for people to go to kind of learn about different aspects, to learn about different errors and things like that. And we get a lot of response a lot of time on YouTube and otherwise to say, I just hate PS2s. They're so weird. They're unusual machines. I hate microchannel. you know, people just consider that oddity out there, and or they had trouble with a particular machine and got stuck and just got frustrated and got rid of the machine. That doesn't have to be done with that Ardent Tool resource. There's a way to go through and get the information that you need to get a system like that running, to find help to getting the system running. And that's what we're providing to Curious Mark. We're just providing a little bit extra details and a little bit of help. We're just a little bit more familiar with some of the routines of the reference diskette and the IML partition and things like that, to the changes in configuration, what that takes. And I'm sure that'll be a whole experience for them. But, you know, I'm interested in subscribers, and that, as I said, the boost has been great of the number of subscribers. I'm very thankful to that, even though it's necessarily an unrelated channel. It maybe has helped to bring in people that are interested in seeing my content as well. You know, I hope that I'm providing valuable content. I'm hoping that I'm being informative to people. If they don't necessarily have a system, at least they're maybe finding the content informational or whatever. I would dread something if somebody going through and just feeling, hey, I'm seeing these videos come up of this guy's doing a video every day. I don't want to watch this stuff anymore, and going through and unsubscribing. But I'm hoping that people stick with me and listen to what I say and go through the subscribers. I'll not try and be too overwhelming in my video production, to where, you know, if you even see it and you don't believe you're interested or whatever else, please don't unsubscribe from my channel. I mean, you're doing me a benefit there. You can easily breeze through it or whatever else, or anything like that, just to help me to get up what I relate to be more of the powerful thing to me of being more subscribers. Now, I wanted to bring up, and I'll go through and pause because I got to go through and change images a little bit. But just remember, you know, I'm talking about a gain of about 120 people, and let's say even round numbers, 120 from that would be definitely Curious Mark giving a pin, a link to my channel. And, you know, for a YouTuber, that's the good thing. You not necessarily saying on video of saying the channel name or anything like that, and not providing that link, because really a lot of time that can, you know, people are not, if they don't have the link, they're not going to be able to click through and find the channel or anything like that. I'll go through and follow that up with some channels that I'm going to talk about later on, and I'm actually going to provide links to them. I'm not really going to go through anything on video discussion of those channels, but I'm going to provide links in the video description. And when I get to that point, I want people to really consider what I'm saying. But let me go through and pause and get up to go through and change my images so I can kind of elaborate a little bit more on what I'm talking about here. Okay, so this is what I wanted to bring up. I watched this, it's been a little bit less than 2 weeks ago, and it was Patty Galloway that does this. He does this for other YouTube channels. I've seen him have a video on Marcus Brownlee, and that had, I believe, about, oh, was it 66,000, and it's been up for a while and everything. But he did a video on Mark, you know, you can see the titling of this image to say how Mark Rober averages 37 million views per video. Genius. Okay. Now, and he goes through a lot of the construction of saying how Mark Rober, and I mean, I'm sure you've seen the Mark Rober videos out there. I'm sure you talk about, hey, this little squirrel thing in the backyard, and grandmas have seen this video. They're aware of this from their grandkids showing it on the phones or whatever else. He gets a tremendous amount of views. he goes through, and this video talked a little bit about how he goes through and constructs, and it shows his thumbnails and things like that he does to get the viewership, having arrows, having lots of colors, going through at the start of the video, announcing what he's going to do, or having preview shots and going through. Now, Mark Rober, and it shows up in subscribers as well, but you know, we're talking about 37 million views on average for his videos. And so he's looking at that viewership aspect. He's not necessarily looking, and in fact, he has so many subscribers, he's not concerned about the number of subscribers he has. That's a trivial issue to him. He's looking at the views. He's looking at, and it's, I don't want to say the monetized aspect of what he presents, although that's got to be a goodly number, for 37 million views on the video. But it's just how he goes through and a little bit more development. Of course, he doesn't go through and release, you know, it's a time frame between videos. He has a whole staging that he does, and it takes work, and it takes background. That takes a lot of people being involved along with him to go through and set up those sets and other constructions. He does go through in the editing aspect. With Mark Rober in particular, I know that he goes through and he does a little bit of artistic licensing with the editing. I mean, to play into the story and develop it better. I'm not saying he's untruthful, but I'm saying he goes through and he edits the video in a particular way for the storyline that he's trying to present. And again, that relates to viewership. That relates to holding someone there and not going through. Someone is unlikely to click out of his video halfway through. They're pulled in. They're pulled in within that lead that he does in the first 10 or 15 seconds to watch what the results are. And you know, this video in particular, it talks about Mark Rober, and as I say, it's a little bit less than 2 weeks, but you can look at, even talking about Mark Rober has almost 1 million views. And granted, this Paddy Galloway, he's not a YouTuber that I've really heard a whole bunch of before, but he's got his viewership and his subscribers and his angle of talking about people that are on YouTube. But just talking about Mark Rober gets him almost 1 million views. Whereas like the Marcus Brownlee, which is popular in his own way, and Marcus Brownlee is a YouTube success story, starting at age 13 or whatever he did, to being the point that he is now. What YouTube has brought in for him, how renowned of name he is, to everybody's just sending him tech. Hey, review this. No strings attached. Go through. Just say what you think on video. And, you know, companies are doing that like crazy. He has a choice of any technology he wanted out there. He could just ask and he gets stuff, basically. So, you know, just talking about Mark Rober gets a lot more views than talking about Marcus Brownlee. The Marcus Brownlee video has been around a lot longer, got less views and everything else. So that all relates to that level too. Now, Mark Rober makes a comment in this video that in the span of 2 days, and again, remember that 2-day thing of me that I talked about gaining 120 subscribers in 2 days. But it says each video that he does within those first 2 days of the video dropping gains him 300,000 new subscribers. And think about that for a moment, of what he's gaining. And as I say, he's getting so many subscribers, he doesn't care. And of course, those subscribers, they're worldwide. They're wanting to see the next video when it takes maybe even as much as 2 or 3 months for that next video, that big production to come out. But they want to see that when it comes out within that short span of time. It's talked about. It's talked about around the water cooler and everything. But he made that comment during the video, and that just blows me away. 300,000 subscribers, new subscribers, in the first 2 days of that video dropping on YouTube. They go through for even the monetized aspect, and they have preview viewers, people that can go through and subscribe and at funding levels. And I'll try and bring that up as well and later on in the video to talk a little bit about that. But you know, people even pay to get a preview of those videos in that, and that just amazes me. But those guys are so big, and they don't know. I mean, even if it was years and years earlier, and they've been at YouTube a long time, I don't know if they're necessarily aware of the struggles of the little guys trying to get started, and that they have such viewership and subscriber base. It just amazes me. So I'm going to go through to the next video as well. Give me a moment so I can go through and pause and bring up the next image. Okay, so this next video is Derek Mueller, and of course most people are not going to know him by his name. They're going to know him as Veritasium. And this is a video, we need to talk about clickbait, that dropped today, just hours ago. And it has over 1 million views for a video that came out today, just hours ago. I don't know how much subscribers that Derek is gaining. He's known by his name, by his YouTube name. That's more familiar to people than his real name. Even though I operate and I try and get that moniker IBM Museum out there, you know, it's not my real name. I try and develop that more as a personality of who I am on video. And I'm interested in Veritasium. And in fact, I've shown videos of him to my mother and my uncle. And I mean, I watch every video and I like seeing that. And what really surprised me when I didn't recognize this beforehand until I captured this image, that I'm not even subscribed to his channel. It has that subscribe button in this image in red, and it's not dimmed out and says subscribed, that I'm subscribed to his channel. And I still see his videos prominent out there. And I don't know how many, and then, so, and that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. In the case of Veritasium, he's got close to 10 million subscribers, and probably within, you'd have to say with that current number, within another video or 2 or 3, he's going to be breaking a 10 million subscriber mark. He's going to probably gain 1, because I'm going to go through and I'll go through and subscribe. And that's going to be the next level I'm going to talk about. And Derek, in this video, he talked about the same thing as we saw in that Patty Galloway video. He talked about how people like Mark Rober, how they go through and they edit the thumbnail. They give it a very good thumbnail, and how the other means of naming the video can be helpful to it going viral. And he goes through some of the steps, you know, and very smart guy, that he's aware of the stuff that gets him views. And he talks about going through and changing images and changing titles on videos to get better more views, and a particular thumbnail being more successful and gaining more views. Going through and recognizing and looking at those analytics to how he's not changing the content of the video at all. Now, in Derek, within this video, I mean, I'll give him that he talked about his reasons for having his channel, and going through and saying, hey, I'm informational. It's just not a cat video. I'm going through, and he talked about the video titling being, if he goes through and pins it down exactly, and it's a great video to watch. I can go through and I can list it in the video, in the description of of what I have for my video, just to provide that link so people can go through and watch that if they haven't seen that otherwise, and the million views it has had. And they can go through and subscribe if they like. I mean, he produces great content. But he does go through and talk about that video titling and things like that. He can be too analytical and have just the wrong titling. And he says the point of him doing this channel is that he wants to be informational to people. He wants to expand their knowledge. He wants to get them interested in something, in, you know, be it science or other concepts, that, you know, that's the reason he views his channel exist. Now, you do have YouTubers that do collaboration efforts. You do have them kind of in their so-called competitions. They competing, they're close to 1 million, you know, viewers. Those big guys relate 1 million subscribers, and they're still talking in terms of subscriber. I think they're understanding enough when they're gained even to 1 million, they're still a little bit interested in subscribers, because they know that still puts them high in the YouTube placement when they generate a video, having subscribers that are able to see that come up. And so there's ones like Matt Parker and Steve Mold that go through and they have these 1 million, you know, subscriber competitions and everything else. And, you know, to me, that's funny in a way. I mean, I like their videos as well. I'm not dismissing that they're doing informational videos. They're still trying to grow the knowledge of the people. They have their reason for their channels. Now, you know, for me, I realize that there's a lot to the development of the channel that I need to do. There's lots of, I could be more of a production quality. And I've stated a lot of time that I just go through and I start up the OBS software and I just run with it. If I have to pause, if you know necessary, just click on that pause button to go through and change images or whatever else. But I like going through and generating just the video without necessarily having to go through and edit and even necessarily capturing a thumbnail. And I'm bad because I go through and I don't develop a thumbnail. I just let YouTube decide. They present you with the 3. A lot of time that middle one, and they do it for particular timelines within your video. You know, if you do a video like a third of the way in or a couple minutes in is that first thumbnail, midway in might be, or a few minutes in might be that second thumbnail, then the third thumbnail being as you've gone through and very in depth in you know, far along in the video. So I just go through, and if it doesn't, you know, if that middle video, the one that auto selects, isn't good enough, I change that. Might be the limit. And I've gone through and I've done a couple videos, a couple thumbnails to videos that I think that has improved them a little bit. I've started to use that resource, or thinking of that way of going through and developing the thumbnails. And I need to do that a lot better. But my point is I try and go through, and it's just a minimal of editing time. I want to throw it out there almost like a live stream as it is, or just going through. And sure, I go through in my production quality, I ramble a lot, I go off on tangents, whatever. I do want to say that I plan the next live stream. I've kind of come into a sequence of Saturday morning, 10 a.m. local time for me. I'm on Mountain Standard Time. That's 9 a.m. California time, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time. And then it's, you know, I say Mountain Time Zone is -7 GMT. You know, and the reason for me doing it kind of earlier on Saturday is trying to get a little bit of participation from European viewership and things like that. Those guys participating. And even Thomas was able to participate the last time. I was glad to see that. Who knows, at a later point I'll do maybe later on a Saturday to get kind of look more at the angle of the California, maybe out there in get into the New Zealand or Australia aspects, something like that, maybe. Now, I mean, the analytics to the video, I can kind of just briefly get in that. I mean, I look at that stuff as well to try and get developed. And of course, in the retro PC side, that's to a large extent male viewership. And I looked at one time and I was constraining it by a particular time. I wasn't looking at the total time of the channel, but that, you know, in the like the last year that I've been very productive and thrown up a lot more videos and everything else. My channel's been around in a sense a long time, but I just didn't have any videos on it. That it was even relating to 100% male viewers, and it was counting, I think it's did like the age 39 to 45 or something like that was the age of 100% of the viewers over that span of time. I thought, man, I'm in that very confined demographic, and I realized that that's not going to go, you know, very far out. That I'm not going to have a whole bunch of female viewers or anything else like that. You know, hopefully I get to the point and it goes into the diversity of that setting. I mean, I love to see women involved in the aspect of retro computing as well, or that having that hobby. Sometimes it comes down for that and sometimes it doesn't. I do have aspects I can touch on that I do as well, like the Cricut Maker and Cricut Joy that I have, and I can go through and maybe the crafting angle like my mom does for a lot of her stuff, making the cards that she does and things like that. Maybe for some of the videos to maybe potentially attract some of that viewership or anything like that. But, you know, that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to be educational as well. I'm trying to get that diverse viewership and in that worldwide area, you know, of people around the world needing help. I haven't said it on a live video before, but one of my initial things to like the internet, and we're talking about a time frame that was years before YouTube was around or Google was around, but on the angle of PS2s, that I have the PS2 Model 30 that I've featured before, and that being a machine that, you know, was very much out of date even for the time I was running it, based on the 8086 CPU. But and this would probably had to have been the very late 90s or just around the turn of the century, that I was contacted by a student that says, look, I have a Model 30 as well, same thing that you have, but I'm away from my brother's house when I'm going to school. He's going to university at the time, and that's where the machine is, and so I don't have access to the machine during the week when I'm at school. But I'm writing a mouse driver, and it would be great if you're able to test it during the week and give me feedback of how that runs, and then on the weekend I can go through and I can make the code adjustments and give you the new version of the mouse driver. And the Model 30 being rather limited resources you wanted to do, and the PS2 mouse functionality built into a lot of the BIOS functions. He's just trying to make a very small mouse driver with the limited resources that the Model 30 had. And it was an arrangement that worked out well for me, that I would have that latest mouse driver version ahead of everyone else. And it wasn't a product he was selling. He was just doing development for his own little angle just because it's there. But I mean, I was happy to work with him in that regard, because it took, you know, a half hour, an hour worth of time during the week, And in the end, I got a finished mouse driver when he was through with it all, that worked very well. Not to dig around and see if I have a copy of that. But my point is that that guy, that kid, and really in that regard, probably being in his very late teens or more likely early 20s, was in Germany. And that's, you know, despite the language difference and everything else, and yeah, we interacted in English, but it was where, you know, it was English was the second language to him, and he conferred it well enough to me for us to work together by that email long distance, and the distance didn't matter. That's what I'm talking about, is going through and being able to help each other even despite those long distances, and using the resources of places like the Ardent tool. Now, kind of going through and wrapping up the video, and I've been rattling on for 40 minutes now, and hopefully I've been very informative in content while I'm trying to get along with this video. And hopefully it has viewers and it gains me subscribers, but I just have to see. But what I want to talk about in the remainder of this is those YouTubers that are out there, like me. They're going through and trying to get subscribers, and I'm focusing on the retro PC angle. To me, it doesn't matter if it's not related to IBM systems or anything like that. And a lot of these first 5 that I'm going to do for this video, these are people that I'm subscribed to, or if I haven't been subscribed to in the past, I'm subscribed to them today. Because as I go through and I talk about these links, what I want people to do out there, if you're interested in the retro PC stuff that like I cover, follow the link that I'm going to provide for their channel and subscribe to their channel. You know, who cares if they do videos every once in a while or whatever, that you'll have them pop up in your YouTube, but go through and encourage them that way, kind of from behind the scenes. And you might even leave comments. Tell them where you came from. Tell them who recommended. I even say for the first one I recommend, and I've known this guy for months ago. I saw a video, and I don't even know how it popped up that way with as much, because he has 10 subscribers today, and I probably promoted his channel. It's been several months ago, if not maybe a year ago. But let me tell you, I've been, over the last several months, I've been a subscriber for him. And yeah, I don't see videos that he comes up with or anything like that, but I'd hope that he gets a little bit of encouragement, that I'm at least he can look at that subscriber number, and if he sees that increase, be encouraged that he's getting views of his video, he's getting subscribers. And I'll try and go over these channels in talking about them, but and I may have to bring up notes or something like that, but I'm going to provide the links to their channel along with their YouTube name, of their channel name. And I'm going to go through it in a little bit of order of the subscriber numbers. This week, and I'm going to try and go through and do this on a regular basis, where I get into some of my videos, even the content I throw out there, just to put some links to other YouTube channels in my video. I've had one cheerleader out there that has been great, and that's Retrotech Chris has been a great cheerleader for me, and encouragement, and trying to get me back in the game when I get out and get a little bit disappointed, don't get a video for some time. And I've always appreciated that. And he's gone out there and posted on, his Twitter for going through and linking me, and no doubt getting me subscribers as well. He's crossed over the 1,000 subscriber threshold. And I want to focus on the people that are below 1,000 subscribers, these channels. And in this instance, this first week, most are going to be, 4 of the 5 are going to be YouTube channels that have less subscribers than I do right now. In that one case of the 5th one, he's got more subscribers, but also this initial week that I'm doing, as I say, I've been subscribed to these channels, and a lot of time I've been, you know, for these 5 channels I'm going to talk about today, I've been subscribed to them for some time. I'm interested, and they've gone through and they're subscribed to me for a few of them that are aware of me, or they've answered comments that I've put on their videos. They're aware of me being out there. So I'm going through and I'm doing a little bit of interaction with those videos that I've had all along in going through and recommending them. So I'll have Retro Male with his listed first, and I'm not going to go through, and I'm not really going to, other than him, I'm not going to say the number of subscribers that they have right now, because I hope that really changes dramatically. And I don't really have their videos up. I just have notes of the links to their channels and things like that. Next, we're getting up into Grant Bell, and he just has on YouTube, just has a G, capital G space B for his channel. And as I say, it's not, I don't even look at the thought of even a retro PC aspect. Looks like he's starting to get into that a little bit, or starting to put it on video. Let me put it that way. That, you know, as I've said on my live streams, I got into making YouTube videos because UXW Bill, William Walsh, went through and he wasn't producing as many videos, and certainly computer-based videos as much as he had in the past. And I know he still develops some videos and does them as he has time. I don't view that I'm in, you know, it's not a competition thing or something that I saw that he stopped producing videos at all. But I got into it because I wanted that content being out there. And he does a lot of, as I kind of do a lot of time, a lot of off-the-wall videos and side subjects too. Not necessarily that are retro computer based, and I relate that the same way, and I like that content that he has out there for what he's done in the past, and his way of going through and doing things. I even recently went through, and of course he has well above 1,000 subscribers now, but you know, got looking. I did a video on the Model 53 SLC2, just not all that far back, just a couple days ago. And UXW Bill, he did, you know, that put up his video that he'd done, and he did that video 9 years ago, 9 years ahead of me in getting that a video out on that model. And so, you know, it's interesting to me for the length of time. Of course, he's been around and gained the subscribers. I'll have links to all these guys. I think Grant, he's sitting at like 52, 53 subscribers. And maybe it'd be good for me to mention the amount of subscribers and that, so we can see kind of the increase hopefully out there. The next one I want to go over is Geeky Bit. And it's not with any plural bits or anything like that. Geeky Bit. And this is a new subscription for me today. Just about everyone else I think I've interacted with in the past, or you know, that I know that they have subscribed to my channel. I'll give links to them. The next one is the YouTube name of the lowercase I, 80386SX. And just like the Intel 386SX, that full name of that CPU. I don't know what the affinity is or anything like that. I know that I've interacted with them personally in this case. And they've left comments on my video or wherever the case may be, that I've had that interaction, and I do appreciate that. The last of the 5 that I'm going to talk about for today's video is Retro PC Durham and Canadian based. And you know, I thought with the Durham name in there, I thought it was referred to something like North Carolina originally, and that being, you know, headquarters for IBM, or, well, not necessarily headquarters, one of the places that IBM was very established there within the so-called triangle. But Durham wasn't related to North Carolina in this case. It's I don't know what the thing is. Maybe he can explain a little bit more. But I've interacted with him a lot on the channel, and in particular his videos that he's done that I've found entertaining. And I'll give the links to all these 5 in the video description here, so people can go through and show a little bit of love, you know, try and bring up their subscriber numbers to just give them more encouragement to do videos. And in some cases, you have to recognize that they may not have developed, you know, this post-production video quality that comes with times, that comes with them gaining encouragement and getting more into making videos on their own, that some of those things start to appear. If they have a thumbnail that's just not all that great or whatever else, still go through and try and watch the video for the title that they do. Recognize that title may be a little bit off. That thumbnail may not be that production quality like you expect, that pulls you in like Mark Rober, but give them a chance. Give these YouTube content creators that encouragement, and subscribe their channels, bring up their numbers, and, you know, just learn more about them. I'm going to try and do this on a regular basis, and I encourage channels that are over 1,000 subscribers to go through and do this as well. In particular, the big guys out there. If I can gain 120 subscribers in 2 days, based on an established YouTuber out there that doesn't necessarily cover the same content that I do, but he just mentions my channel, he links my channel, and you provide links for these channels. Don't just talk about them in the video, but go through and you know, give a link in the video description, a section of that, that people can click on that link to go to that channel and thus subscribe to them. But these established YouTube channels out there, and I don't resent them at all. I mean, I talk about Clint, you know, LGR. He's a very known name out there. He's a great guy, great reviews and everything else. I get shocked sometimes to the point where I feel, and I shouldn't feel frustrated, but the stuff that he has, that people just send him, just the same way I'm doing to Curious Mark. I mean, for him being established, and I realize he has a lot of subscribers and everything else, reaches out to a lot of people, and people feel good to send him stuff and have him talk about. Adrian Black, people sending him stuff, and that's great too, of him going through reviews. Dave's EEV blog, down from Australia, people send him a lot of stuff too, and I'm not resenting that at all, but those are great channels. But I'm saying for those established YouTube content creators to realize the little guys that are trying to also go through, and YouTube's not going to collapse. It's not going to necessarily be inflated in the aspect of people gain more subscribers out there. I don't know how many channels I'm subscribed to now, but I try and go through, and the videos I appreciate and see coming up, and even from the little guys, going through and providing them encouragement. And I do go through and watch their videos. I kind of like, and I like participating. I like to see comments. It'd be great for comments on these too. Comment on this video. Tell me what you think about what I'm talking about, because I'm just kind of throwing it out there. It's a little bit different. I'm going to move on in the next videos, and that live stream I have coming up on Saturday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Just because I can't do a YouTube announcement and tell, make that announcement and tell my subscribers out there of when that's going to be. But I'll try and put that in the video description as well, of at least telling the timeline for that, so people can consider going on that. I love to get comments in real time and everything else too. But comment on this, and if you enjoy this content and you think I'm talking up the right alley and you'd like to see more of this, this is kind of a little bit of a retro PC format or focus here that I'm talking about, of those channels out there. But this can be for any type of channel, anything you find helpful. I mean, I've subscribed to other channels that of things I have, like say the Cricut Maker Enjoy, of these women that look upon and doing these things for crafts. I subscribe to their channel because I believe that they give me a great summary or a synopsis of way to do things that I haven't thought about that helps me. So it doesn't necessarily have to just be based on computers, but it's a theme that can work in other areas of YouTube as well. I'll have on some video coming up that I'll go through and do the next 5 as it is. And I'll go through on this video, as I say, that a lot of the drive of the channel is driving people to realizing what a great resource the Ardent tool is out there, getting them to go through on that site. And the way that Major Tom has it organized is just fabulous. You can drill into exactly what you're looking for. As people, my regular viewers have seen, my subscribers have seen, I go through and provide links to that information. If I go through and review a model, here's the links to where that is. So I do adapter, here's the links to where that is. If that doesn't have a developed page, I'll go through and say so. And that information that I'm going through and compiling is for setting up a page on the Ardent tool, further information, expanding the information, so people have it in their hands and know how to do it. I've mentioned the Facebook group. I'll go through and provide the link to that. I love people going through, and if they think it's a good thing, to join up our groups on Facebook, and that's a way to also get a hold of us. I'm going to say my my email address. I doubt if I'll go through and you can go through and there's ways to go through and contact me via email anyway. I won't list it, but I'll say it's ibmmuseum@gmail.com. And if you feel so inclined, I mean, Google sorts through and they sort out spam and things like that very well. But if you want to drop me a personal email, go right ahead. I'm looking for that content, or I can point you in the right direction. But I would love to see more people come on to those groups, and that they're hopefully coming there at need, where they need to know about these particular systems that are looking for help or something like that for us to provide. Or maybe they're the type that they've got it all under control and understand the world and want to impart that knowledge to others and be of help too. These great troubleshooters that go through at this technical level to diagnose these things, that's all appreciated too. And the last step I'll get into before I go through and wrap up the video, I'll kind of start on a little bit on that, was I talked about the, and I did refer to RetroTech Chris earlier. He was my first Patreon, and I've gained 2 others since then. And I've gained, through Patreon, I get a whopping $29 per month. And there's something that I go through and inspect with at this point where my channel is, but as I put in every video I do now, help out with the, to help with the content and of the channel, it's a way to show it. And I'm not living on that, but every little bit helps. And I think a little bit helps for these other channels getting started and everything else. A little bit more encouragement for them, because there is a little bit of outlay for them getting new stuff and getting a better way, better camcorder or whatever to do things. There's a cost of money. They're not monetized on YouTube, so that can be helped out. And it even goes, almost ironically in a way, to where I contribute to someone and they contribute to me, and that maybe it works out in the end. There's just money, the same money crossing hands, but it is encouragement. And I do encourage, I do like to see that of the Patreons that go through and are committed enough to at least throw $1 or $2 or a few dollars per month, to my efforts or to efforts of others through Patreon, just helping out. And that really gives a lot of encouragement to me sometimes, that it puts it in the frame of that I'm earning money for the information I'm providing, and it's so helpful to me for the content and the channel that I do. So if you enjoyed this video, I got to this point once before in the video minutes ago, but if you enjoyed this video, click on that like button and please comment how you feel about this, what I'm talking about. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. Please subscribe to all the channels that I'm recommending. Go through the process of recommending, and look for that in the other content creators that are out there, for them to have links of what they relate as other viable channels that they go through and watch as well. I'm putting out that challenge to other retro PC people channels, in particular the ones that have made it, to look out for the little person, guy or gal, kid, even a lot of times, retro male being a kid, that just giving them a hand up to get growing their channel and getting it more established. So that's all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.